I think this is onion grass. It looks like it. Yeah, that's onion grass. Wow. Okay, so one of the solutions I found was self care, but not the way we usually do it. So, we like to get a lot of our self care in the morning hours or before bed. What I found out is when you're having burnout, it's important to do self care in little moments. So you spread it out through your day so that you're not pushing yourself all in one time of day or 1 hour trying to get all the self care in. You're not doing that. So basically, what you're doing is you're like, oh, I'm gonna shave a little bit this hour, the next hour, or two hours later, I'm gonna, tame my hair a little bit. Maybe in a couple hours, I might clip my toenails. This way, you're not putting so much pressure on your heart chakra because it's already exhausted. I know this sounds ridiculous because it's like you're doing self care through your day. But really, when you have burnout, you should actually be taking better care of yourself, but through your day. Meaning this, you are prioritizing as a number one priority of taking care of yourself. So you should have no problem with doing this through your day. Like a little bit of self-care here and then. This way you do build up self-love. We know when we get burnout, our self-esteem starts to have a breaking point. It starts to collapse. We know that our self-love starts to suffer. So when you are having burnout, one of the things that you have to protect is the way you feel about yourself. Now, people say, I don't have the energy to take care of myself. You have little moments through your day where you get a little bit of energy. Use that little bit of energy that comes through the day to take care of yourself, but small little bits of self-care. Not like, oh, it's a whole spa treatment in 1 hour. Unless you're paying someone else to take care of you. That's another thing I found out. Sometimes you have to be willing to ask for help. You just say, I'm going to have someone else take care of my self-care, some of my self-care. I'm going to go get my hair done. I'm going to go get a friend to help me pick out clothes. I'm going to call up a sibling and see what they cook for dinner and eat what they cooked. That way you're lessening the work on yourself and you can recover from any burnout that you may have. You can recover from burnout faster because you're having other people share some of the work you have to do. They're doing some of the work. So don't try to do it by yourself. If you got to pay a nephew or a niece a couple dollars to come and pick up some of the slack in your house, then do that. A lot of people are so prideful that they don't ask for help during burnout, and then when the burnout is out of hand, they wish they did. So swallow your pride and ask for help. Another solution I found was sunbathing. When you have burnout, your faith in the creator or the world and yourself is literally falling apart. Your spirit is low. If your spirit gets too low, your body will start to feel like it's having burnout. It will feel like it's not strong enough to continue. So feed your spirit. One of the things that I love to do is to just stand there and sky gaze. Like literally just stand there and look at the sky and let the sun just touch my face. I'll do this like 3-4 times a day. Not just in the morning hours like a lot of people do. They'll go for a walk for 20 minutes and then they'll go back in the shadows. Let me tell you, if you have burnout, you have to spend less time in the shadows. Less time, okay? Because the shadows affect you more. They create depression and grief, and that's the last thing you need while you have burnout. So go out and get some sun. Go out and touch some grass, like fresh green grass, like you see right there. Go out and touch that. What that's going to do is bring a peace in you. You may not feel it right away, but understand that there's nutrients coming from the grass, the sky, and the sun. Sometimes you have worked so hard that your nutrients, even from the creator, is so low that it's contributing to slow recovery from burnout. So go out and get fed. Like, you're not out there necessary to have fun. You're just out there to just be. That's all. That's all. You're just outside to just be. You're not trying to achieve a goal. You're not trying to dance on TikTok. You're not trying to go hard on the YouTube video. You're just out there to just be. This way, you're just allowing your heart chakra to stay open and the nutrients to just come in. Now, you can just stand there with your arms wide open. Allow yourself to receive the elemental energy to help clear out any static or toxicity in you that's creating the strength of the burnout. You want that out of you. Here's another solution. Allow yourself to do fun activities that are easy to do. So some of those fun activities that we take for granted now, like photography, because we're like, oh, I can do photography anytime because I have a cell phone. But what if you just went walking and you just allow yourself to have moments where you're standing still and you're taking pictures because you just want to take pictures. You don't have a project that you're doing. You don't have a mission with taking these pictures. You're just taking these pictures because you like what you see and you want to be able to have a record of what you're seeing. You want to be able to look at the pictures and admire them later on, whatever you saw. For example, I just saw this on the ground just now. Woo, y'all. Water. Okay, it might be backwards on the camera, but it says water. Now, the funny thing about that is I was just drinking water before I walked up to the water. So little things like that, like taking pictures that you're like, oh, that came out of nowhere. That's interesting. This is going to give you little moments of joy. It's going to give you a little moment of stillness without you forcing yourself to be still. Because we know when you have burnout, you most likely been doing too much, moving too much, busy too much. So when you get into photography, you're not saying, oh, hi everybody. Y'all see me in the water? Hi everybody. Hi. When you get into photography, you're not saying, oh, I'm trying to be busy with taking these photos. You're just being still. You're getting the stillness that you need without trying. So this is why I say don't try to do it like it's a project, because if you start saying, I'm taking pictures on this walk because it's a project, your mind's going to still see it as work. And what don't we want to be into? The work energy. We don't want to be in that energy when we have burnout. Okay, here's another solution, everybody. Give up being a perfectionist. Allow yourself to be messy and not perfect. This means not perfect with anything you're doing. Not perfect with doing your hair. Not perfect with cooking things. Not perfect. You want to cook your food till it's done, but no perfectionism. The one way you need to maintain that type of discipline of not being perfect is you have to avoid people who try to make you feel like you have to be perfect. You have to do things perfectly. So basically, you are going to avoid anyone that you know that tries to make you feel like you have to be perfect, or that is critical of you and what you do, or that seems like they're quick to judge you. You want to avoid those people. What'll happen is they'll try to crack the whip on you to be better, and then you may fall for it, and then your burnout gets worse. So avoid people who like to talk about you being messy when you're messy, or how you keep yourself. You don't want to be around those type of people, especially people who blow hot and cold according to what you have and how you look. Very narcissistic people you need to avoid when you have burnout. One of the things I love to do is I love to stand under a tree. Now, what this does is it makes me feel like I'm protected. I start to feel like I'm getting grounded with my energy. I start to feel like I've done some work and I'm strong. You want to feel like you're strong when you have burnout. So standing under trees with a little bit of sun coming through the trees on you like this, with the cool air, especially if it's only in the 60s, the weather is only in the 60s, it feels really good, it's refreshing. So you have a little bit of sun coming, but you also have some cool air coming through. Just remember, when you're going on your walks, when you have burnout, you want to be facing the sun. A lot of people forget that. I will be teaching about getting the best benefits out of your walk. Certain mistakes that people make on their walks, and that's why their walk wasn't that beneficial. But one of the first things you want to do is you want to make sure that you're facing the sun. Like, try to face the sun the entire time until you are ready to go back home and you're done with your walk. This solution is happy thoughts. Think like of the good times. Go somewhere that makes you think of the good times, where you can relive the good memories in your mind, and maybe you can allow yourself to just be in that time period for a while. Often people have burnout because they're too focused on the toxicity and the stress of our economy, and the stress of the work environments and money problems of today. So sometimes you do got to jump ship from a certain reality being in your mind. You have to realize that you don't really have to do the things that you're doing that's giving you burnout. You can actually do things that you used to do from your past that didn't give you burnout. You can do the things from your childhood that made you happy. You can go to places like this and parks like this. You don't have to always grind. When you go to parks like this, especially where you're like, oh, there's little things here to show that people play games, that people who don't have nothing can come out here and have some fun. That makes you feel free. Burnout often happens when you're trying to get through some sort of situations that's making you feel trapped. You're trying to have financial breakthroughs, you're trying to have health breakthroughs, you're trying to have relationship breakthroughs, maybe all at once, and then you hit burnout. Sometimes you just got to go and be a child again for a while. You got to go back to the happy times, the happy things you did in your childhood. If you can't do them physically, then do them mentally. Remember, the brain doesn't know what's physically real versus mentally real. It doesn't know the difference. So as long as you have the empowerment and the emotion and the feeling of that reality, it still serves you. It serves you energetically when you have burnout. Okay? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to let me know. These are things I'm doing right now, some of these things. I felt like I was walking the ledge, like, ooh, I'm almost at burnout. So you don't have to wait till you're in full-fledged burnout to do these things I'm saying. You can start doing them as soon as you feel like you're tired of the world. If you get that feeling where you're like, I'm just tired of everything, I need a vacation, then you want to immediately start doing some of the things that I mentioned in this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to support my lifestyle channel, hit the notification button or become a sub. Comment and let me know whether you enjoyed this video. I'd like to know what you think about some of these solutions. Thanks for watching. Bye. One of the things I found that helps with burnout is journaling. Now, sometimes you just need to talk about what you're going through and how you feel, and you really don't want anyone judging you or comparing or making you feel like you're just overreacting with how burnt out you feel. And you really don't want nobody like teaching you how to get through it. Sometimes you don't even want that. You just want to sit in the burnout for a while and journal. So, old fashioned journaling. And what you're going to do is you're going to journal very slow. You're going to journal about things that make you happy, that actually give you peace, that is not tied to anything that stresses you out or that's not connected to any bad memories. Now, and of course, you can journal about the pain you're feeling during your burnout, but you want to make sure you journal about things that make you happy. Now, one of the things I like to do when I am dealing with the early stages of burnout, I will try to pack food that's easy to eat, easy to access. A lot of people, they try to wait till they're like deep into intense burnout, and then this doesn't really work. It's almost like it works just a little bit. It still feels like they're just too tired to even eat simple food like this. So you want to start to pack very light in the early stages of your burnout. So what you're going to pack with you in your car is like sandwiches, little juicy juices that you would give a kid, something like this, your journal, your pen, and you're going to make sure that the notification on your phone is turned off because you don't want anyone snapping their fingers at you to answer their phone calls or their messages. You want to put things on your terms. You want to make it so that people hear from you when you contact them and when you feel like hearing from them, and you check your phone when you feel like checking your phone and not just when they call you. And of course, if you have kids, you may want to select a specific ringtone for your kids' phone numbers or your spouse's phone number so that you know when you hear that, that's them calling. Or let them know that only text if there's an emergency, if it's urgent, because you're recovering from burnout. That way, you can keep the notification sound down low, and you know that if you get any notification and it's their ringtone, it must be really important. What you're trying to do is minimize incoming calls as well. While you're journaling and at peace, sitting in this wonderful park, recovering from burnout, you don't want people snapping their fingers at you. You actually want to feel like you have disappeared. You are kind of off the grid. And you want moments like this a few times a week. I was going to say a few times a day if the burnout is really bad. So really, the more you are outside in the fresh air during burnout, the better it is for you when you're trying to recover from burnout. I find that our homes remind us of fights, of depression, of times when we made bad decisions, we had bad habits. We don't need all those low vibrational memories disturbing our peace while we're trying to recover from burnout. So it's better to be in an environment in which you have no negative, low vibrational memories of that environment. You haven't cried there, you haven't yelled there, you haven't made bad decisions, you haven't had a breakup with somebody there. You know that there's mostly just positive energy, like here. When people come to parks like this, they're here to chill. They're here to have fun. There probably was good memories here with people eating and playing cards and kids playing games and people enjoying their little TikTok dances in here. So try to go places where is an abundant and happy type of energy. But you're going to make sure you pack light. You don't want to be struggling getting stuff out of your car. You don't even want to have multiple things of the same thing. Like, for example, I have my juicy juice here, right? See how it's just one thing? I don't have like 5 bottles of water. I just fill this up and take it with me. Put some ice in it so it stay cold. I also have the bare minimum of everything else that I need. So I packed a couple of these. If you want, you can actually stock a cooler. If you have a car, a cooler full of food, and maybe do a make-believe road trip. And you put this cooler in your car and you do something you haven't done in a while, meaning go somewhere you haven't gone in a while, like to the farm. One thing I found out is when you have burnout, sometimes you've been too exposed to other people's energy and it might have been toxic. That means even through the internet. So you may want to consider doing a internet fast where you're not surfing any other platforms unless you're doing it purposely. You know what you're looking for. Because we still have things we have to do through our day. We have to learn. So basically, you say, I'm only going to get on these platforms because I'm looking for something that I really need. I'm not just hanging out. We know when people are recovering from burnout, they often have moments where they're like, oh, I'm just sitting around bored. I'm wasting my life. Understand that sitting around is also necessary to have peace in your life, to feel like you're living, relearning how to live in the moment. Often people have burnt out because they weren't doing that, of just putting no pressure on themselves, just being. So don't feel guilty about that. You could take your favorite book of poems or go on Amazon, get you a new book of poems or prose or short fiction, and sit there and just read. And make sure that the ringer's off on your phone, or at least turned down very low, and your notification for your apps are off, and you could just get that 20 minutes in. I find that 20 minutes is like the sweet spot. Even as a writer, you can get something down on paper within 20 minutes that you might kind of enjoy or be proud of yourself for writing, or where you felt you reached some sort of flow state and feel free. So you can sit for 20 minutes and just read slowly or write very slowly, whatever comes to you, and nibble on your little easy to access snacks or food. Don't apologize for eating instant stuff. Back in the 90s, we were eating instant stuff and we look great. It's sometimes you got to do it that way if you just feel too exhausted from burnout and you just really cannot be in a hot kitchen.